then here's the other thing too. So it's definitely Discord glitched because now it's doing that. I'll take a picture again. So if I rotate it to the side, landscape instead of vertical, it does not. My Discord does not normally look like this. So it's taken all of you guys and moved you up really high, but squished.
Yeah.
So now it's done this if I put it in landscape mode. Yeah.
And if you do the like maximize thing on the little image, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's on full screen. I took a picture. There's an option to exit full screen, which does nothing. Full screen, nothing. It's Discord. It's like it's all glitched.
I guess we'll figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
So I'll
going.
try again in landscape then, or vertical mode, so it's not all glitchy.
Go ahead, Kelly.
When I think of my life, what I have, and what I've accomplished, I think I'm quite content with what it is. I had a comfortable upbringing thanks to the hard work of my parents. I had a very typical family. My father worked to support the household, and my mother was a homemaker. You could say I was a spoiled child. I went to a private school. Whatever toys, clothes, or snacks I could have asked for, my father would have bought it for me. I was a princess. My parents had grown up quite poor after the war. When my father was a young man, he came to Hong Kong by himself for the mainland countryside to find work. He had lost contact with his family during those tumultuous times after the war and the political upheavals that followed. My father had worked his way up from a man doing odd jobs day and night until he eventually became a successful restaurant owner. My mother came from a large family. She wasn't given the opportunity to complete her schooling. She had to quit school at 14 and work to support her family. She had worked many years as a waitress before meeting my father. I suppose the sharp contrast between my upbringing compared to that of my parents was partly their desire to give me a childhood better than theirs. And I think it was a good childhood that they gave me, a storybook childhood. When I was in Form 4 of high school, I received tragic news which would change my family forever. I remember it vividly being a sunny, bright blue day in September. I was in good spirits. It was warm and clear outside. Classes had just restarted after summer vacation, and we students were chattering away during the lunch hour about what we've done during the summer. I was in mid-recital of a well-rehearsed story about my summer trip to Taiwan when my teacher had asked me to step out. It had been the first trip I had ever made with my family on an airplane, so I was quite excited to share the details of my trip to my classmates. I've never done anything that would require an interdisciplinary meeting with the principal. So to be singled out like that, my heart dropped. I feared that it was some kind of family emergency. I was worried. I got up from my desk amidst the stares of my classmates, and I followed my teacher out of the room. I found that it had been my mother who was waiting to meet me in the school hallway. She was pale. Her perfectly permed hair was frizzy. I knew that something was wrong, but even then, she couldn't tell me exactly what happened. It was my teacher who told me that I was excused from afternoon classes, and that I should accompany my mother to meet my father in the hospital. Thinking back, I don't think I ever finished telling my friends how I made my family walk from Raleigh Night Market to Ningxia Night Market and getting my family lost along the way. My young and naive self had vastly underestimated the walking distance between the two places, but my parents had indulged in my wishes. It became a long and languid walk filled with laughter and memorable discoveries, much more than a quick car ride would have ever been. It'll be a private memory I'll treasure always in my heart. I left the school with my mother. She called for a cab to take us to the hospital. We sat in silence for the entire duration of the car ride. My mother has always been a tight-lipped person, never saying anything more than necessary. I wanted her to reassure me that everything would be okay. But that would have been asking too much from her. My mother was not an emotionally strong person. It was my father who had been a pillar of support in my family. I had such a foreboding feeling in my heart. I remember feeling so nauseous during that car ride. There was so much traffic that day. There was an accident on one of the arterial roads, creating havoc for traffic. It was supposed to be a 10-minute ride, but because of the accident, it became a 60-minute trip. When we arrived at the hospital, Father had already been pronounced dead. If I knew it was going to be like this, I would have gotten out of the car and walked. And we might have been able to see him before he passed away. But who could ever predict these things? I couldn't be too hard on myself on this part. There was not anything we could have done for my father then. My father had been in a car accident en route to meet a business partner. His vehicle was in mid-turn, and unbeknownst to my father, an oncoming truck ran the red light. It was unfortunate. It was truly a terrible turn of events. My father died that September afternoon. I wish I could have said goodbye. Announcement.
Oh, the next station is Central, the train station for the Blue Island Line.
Thank you. My carefree youth had ended then. My mother, too, was never quite the same. She became much more anxious and protective of me, understandably so. Perhaps if my father was still around, I wouldn't be the same person that I am now. I was too childish, too naive. I didn't realize how much of a spoiled child I was. I knew I had to change myself. For the sake of my mother and the memory of my father, I had to become independent and self-reliant. I plunged myself into study to keep my thoughts preoccupied from the reality of our situation. We no longer had family trips. Our table for 3 became a table for 2. My mother sold my father's business, his car, and boxed up his belongings. We moved into a smaller house. My widowed mother didn't want to take over my father's business. She was afraid of being surrounded by too many reminders of my father's death. I never did learn how to drive. But even in death, my father still provided support for us. My father had taken out a sizable life insurance policy before his death, as if he had known something was going to happen. My widowed mother was able to use that money to send me to university and afford a modest home in Kowloon. She could continue her lifestyle as a homemaker, and I could continue to direct my focus toward my studies. It was as if we could live our lives the same way, whether or not my father was still alive. It frustrated me deeply how well we could adjust ourselves after his death. So I kept pushing myself. I didn't have any particular aspirations. I just didn't want to be someone that would bring shame to my family. I wanted to be someone that would make them proud. I had kept myself fully engaged with study, and whatever interaction I had with my peers already seemed like such a distant memory. Even now, at the age of 23, it feels as if my days of being young had long passed. It's not like I studied fortuitously without aim or purpose. My efforts were rewarded when my academic standing proved sufficient to land me an esteemed secretarial job at an international publishing firm shortly upon graduation. I was a secretary in title, but not in a normal sense.
Hold on, getting some background noise from one of you. Like a
Oh.
fan or something?
Yeah, it's like a fan.
Maybe it's me? I have a fan going. Let me turn that off.
Wait,
Sorry.
hold on.
Is that better or is it still bad?
Oh, it's good. You don't hear anything
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm not
Okay.
hearing it.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's okay.
It's alright. I answer only and directly to my supervisor. I handle whatever tasks she asks of me. It can be challenging work sometimes, but I feel fairly competent at what I do. I thought that now, my effort had finally produced something of an achievement. My modest success can be attributed to the work ethic that my father had instilled in me. He had always put his family first and gave his best effort each day to his work. If my father is in heaven watching over me, I hope he can see this and be proud. My days at the office are like a marathon day after day. Each day will have its own set of challenges. A typical day is as follows. I arrive at work. I note down with complete accuracy the minutes of the daily morning meeting. Once that's finished, I proceed to schedule appointments for our business clients and our marketing staff. Sooner or later, lunchtime rolls in. I'll have the usual meal of barbecue pork rice at the nearby family restaurant. Whether I leave late or early, take out or dine in, the wait in line for the lunch rush is always the same. After a quick break, I'm back to the daily grind of work. I'll continue working on my reports. From here on, the flow of time speeds up. I'll continue receiving calls and letters from clients. I take great care to make appropriate correspondence with them all. I can spend several hours at my computer desk without knowing that the sun had already set outside. A day's work will usually finish close to 8 p.m. I'll tidy up and leave my completed reports on my supervisor's desk for her to review in the morning. It'll usually be dark outside when I begin my commute home from work. I'll walk back to the station from my office. I pass by hundreds of people in a rush to their own destinations. I walk quickly or else I'll be pushed back to wait for the later train. As soon as I step onto the train, the flow of time slows to a crawl. The train ride is our reprieve. We have no control over how slow or fast it'll take us to our destinations. I rest my eyes on the train. I will have journeyed through the center of the earth and back by the time I need to disembark. On a typical day, I'll arrive home by 9 p.m. My mother will be waiting for me with a hot meal, and we'll have our dinner together. After eating, if I'm in the mood, perhaps I'll continue reading my book or join my mother watching television. Whatever I choose to do for leisure, fatigue always comes quickly to me. I'll shower and prepare for the next day. Once I place my head on the pillow, it's lights out. I slip into the unconscious world in an instant. The sun rises, and the next day repeats. A day without incident is what I call a good day. Like the clockwork accuracy of the subway system, I like to structure my day in a timetable precise to the minute. A single minute can change the flow of the entire day. If you miss one bus, it can lead to missing every other connection. A 5-minute delay can become a 30-minute delay, especially with the compounding congestion and traffic of modern city living. It's important to treasure every single minute. Though sometimes, despite your best efforts, there are things that occur beyond your own foresight. Today was a day with incident. The usual overhead walkway leading to my office was closed for maintenance. All foot traffic was diverted to other routes. I had to make quite a detour to reach my building. In my hurry, I hadn't noticed when one of my heels had caught on the sewer grid, and lo and behold, when I rushed to take my next step, the heel had snapped cleanly off my shoe. My beautiful heels! Fiore, new collection. Comfortable to wear and stylishly formal. It cost a month's paycheck, but it was an investment towards success. To break it in such a way, of course I was upset. It was entirely unsalvageable. And to add insult to injury, I had to hobble my way into the nearest convenience store and purchase a pair of embarrassingly homely sandals to wear. The day was already turning out to be a disaster. I had worn these conspicuous sandals into work, and because of that, I was on the receiving end of much teasing from my coworkers. Even the newest hire felt he could approach me and make a joke about the kitchen slippers on my feet. Today, I earned a new nickname at the office. Slippers Cheung. I didn't know how long it would take to live this down. I resolved to never make such a mistake again. This incident had set my whole day off. I was frazzled. I fumbled with the phone and Xerox machine. My usual 0.01% error rate in transcribing and typing had more than tripled. The day might have been the longest workday ever. I had to get it together. My supervisor, Mrs. Tam, noticed my distress and pulled me aside. Mrs. Tam personally hired me as her secretary, saying that I reminded her of her younger self. Mrs. Tam is a remarkable woman. She facilitated the rapid growth of her company for the past 20 years. If there's something she's more passionate about other than money making, it had to be shoes. She herself is an aficionado of designer shoes. There's a rumor among my colleagues that she has a closet filled with over 10,000 pairs of luxury market shoes. I have never seen her wear the same shoe twice, so it is a rumor founded with reason. It would be a dream come true to see such a collection with my own eyes. Anyway, I digress. Mrs. Tam recommended that I have the shoe repaired at a cobbler in Mongkok. She said their prices are very reasonable and that they could flawlessly fix any shoe within an hour. I took down her directions. I made it my mission to have it fixed as soon as possible so I could put this embarrassment behind me. If Mrs. Tam recommended this shoe cobbler, he must be no ordinary shoe cobbler. After what was an embarrassingly long workday on my feet, I made my way to the shoe cobbler in Mongkok. Unfortunately for me, it was a busier day than usual on the train. I had to endure a number of stares from people on the train eyeing my pink slippers. I hurried off the train as soon as I could and stepped into another crowded place. I don't normally frequent this area as I find navigating its busy crowds and labyrinth of shops and stalls such an ordeal every time I visit. It was certainly busy tonight, as it always was. The amount of people on the streets, the smells, and the sounds can be overwhelming. I tried to find my bearings. The cobbler shouldn't be that far from the station exit, according to my supervisor. I looked again at the directions that were dictated to me by Mrs. Tam. Take the east exit and walk towards the convenience store across the street. Continue past the convenience store and look for a bakery. Go past the bakery and take a left at the cosmetics store. Continue down the road until you reach a pharmacy and turn right. The cobbler should be at the next street corner. I scratched my head. The landmarks indicated certainly would have applied to any other place. With some effort, I was able to find the shoe cobbler in a back alley a bit away from the main thoroughfare. It was a small store tucked in the street corner. The lights were on, but the gates appeared closed, however. I thought Mrs. Tam said it was open till late. After all the time it took me to find this place. There's a sign that reads, "Call for service." There's no number listed. There's no buzzer either. Am I supposed to just yell? Well, I've already come this far. Excuse me? Thought I heard rustling sounds. Is there anyone there? Excuse me? I listened in. There were sounds of a TV or a radio coming from within the closed shop. I heard sounds of a person shuffling from inside the store. Did you see the Discord thing?
What's going on?
Music's too loud, apparently.
Gabby says it's hard to hear voices over the music.
Yeah. If you could lower the music, please.
I think there's a way to lower the stream volume through Discord, though.
Is that different for you?
Yeah.
Gabby? Is this better?
The voices are pretty loud in my headset.
Yeah, I have the actual stream turned down just on my end, but it's not. Gabby.
Gabby?
Oh, that's me.
Is it better?
Yeah. I also found out that Discord lets me change the stream volume so it helps a lot.
Okay. Because the music's part of the charm. I don't want it too low or too loud.
Okay.
Continue.
Right. A woman soon appeared out of the closed gates. She had the look of someone who would describe herself as an artist. Her permed hair was styled to look intentionally messy. Garish plastic earrings dangled from her ears with impunity, never appearing to get caught in her long hair. She wore a graphic t-shirt under faded jean overalls. I didn't recognize the image on her shirt. I suppose it was the logo of a brand I didn't know. She didn't appear young enough to be a teenager, though she dressed like a valley girl out of an American movie. Her face was much too lean and her eyes too sharp. She was taller than me, too. I took a good look at her shoes. They were off-white canvas sneakers with a mark on the rubber sole. I began to question Mrs. Tam's choice of recommendation.
Nally?
Oh, a customer. Wait just a moment.
Are you the cobbler?
Who, me? No. I'm Sam, his daughter.
Oh,
We're just watching replays of the World Cup game.
I'm sorry to disturb you.
Not at all. What brings you here? A broken shoe, or is it a broken heart? I offer consultations for both.
Huh? The woman winked at me. I was confused. Was I at the right place? I was about to excuse myself when a man came out of the half-open store. He had a reliable look to him.
Hey, don't scare out my customers. Sorry, young lady. I'm the owner of this store, Mr. Wong. My daughter's quite nosy, likes to talk nonsense. Don't mind her.
I see.
Are dropping those shoes off in your bag to be fixed?
Yes, that's right. I broke the heel on this one. You think it can be fixed?
What a nice shoe! It must have been so expensive.
Yes, it'll be such a shame to throw it out.
Let me see. Oh, this? Be an easy fix. I can make it as good as new. I haven't done it in under an hour.
Really? Then I'll leave them with you. Thank you very much.
My master cobbler of a father for you.
Wang Kaiyan. Should go back to your own store already.
After I've come so far to visit you?
You can visit me anytime.
Alright. I'll get going. It's about dinner time anyway.
If it's alright with you, I'll come back later tonight to pick up the shoes.
Of course.
Excuse me.
Bye!
The shoe cobbler has quite an odd daughter. What did she mean by consultation? Well, anyway. I'm sure it didn't mean anything. Probably just her eccentric sense of humor. I came here to have my shoes fixed. All I can do now is wait. I have to put my trust in Mrs. Tam and the cobbler she recommended. What should I do while waiting? I suppose I can look at some of the shops in this area. It's been a while since I've taken my time to look around here. Ah, that's right. I could look at the pet stores. There's a few nearby. I glanced at my watch and made a mental note of the time. I'll make my way back to the cobbler in an hour. Afterwards, I'll catch the express bus directly home. It shouldn't take much effort at all to pass an hour waiting here, I thought. There was a street where a few pet stores were next to one another. I looked at a few storefronts. I chuckled to myself. Nothing much has really changed since then. The kittens at the window display were curled up together in a ball, sleeping. How adorable. And the puppies? One chased his own tail round and round in a circle. Another one wagged her tail and barked at me when I made eye contact with her. Very cute. I'm much too busy to take care of a pet now. But when I was a small child, having a pet seemed like an essential thing for my happiness. I would ask my mother and father if I could take home a kitten or a puppy whenever we passed by one of these pet stores. I used to tell my parents that it was so pitiful for these animals to be caged and put on display like this, and better for their welfare if I could take one home to love and care for. But a pet was the one thing my parents didn't fully indulge me with. My mother would not hear any of it. My father compromised and got me a turtle. I didn't think much favorably towards the turtle. My poor pet turtle. I'm sorry I didn't treat you with much love. It was my father who cared for you then. I stepped inside one of the stores. The sound of splashing water from the aquarium tanks brought back childhood memories of when I was a small child and my father would hold me up in his arms to look at the fish. My eyes would light up with wonder at all the colorful fish swimming and darting around in the tank. I walked further into the store. My eyes followed the contrasting oranges and reds of schooling fish against the blue. I didn't know how long I must have stared at the tanks. The deep blue of the fish tanks was something you could get lost in. Over the steady hum of the ultraviolet aquarium lights, I heard the sound of the door chime. I saw the same woman from the shoe cobbler step into the pet store. She looked to her left and right. She appeared to be looking for something. Well, whatever it wasn't any of my business. I looked the other way. There were goldfish on display. Some had eye sacs that bulged out from their heads. This feature seemed more of an impediment to their swimming ability than something of an aesthetic value. I caught my own reflection in the glass tank. I suppose my swollen eyes weren't that different. I've been looking at a computer monitor all day. I should put on an iPad when I get home. Something mustard yellow appeared in front of my eyes. It was the reflection of that woman's earrings against the glass. My eyes instinctively followed her movements. She walked past me. She had the store attendant bag something from one of the tanks in the back of the store. Then, holding her bag, she walked over to the fish food section of the store and seemed to contemplate a long time over which fish pellets she should purchase. She had to give each container a hard shake, as if the sound of the rattling pellets was a factor to consider in her decision-making. She ended up picking the larger of the two containers. What a strange person. I saw her look my way. I turned around quickly. I didn't want her to think I was staring. When I looked up again, I saw her standing across from me. Our eyes met. There was a moment of pause between us. I didn't know if I should talk to her. It's not like we knew each other. She thought otherwise, and she smiled as if she had found an old friend. She waved at me, her animated gesture not at all phasing the fish in the tanks.
Lady,
She stepped around to stand beside me.
are you buying goldfish?
Huh? No, I'm just passing time while waiting.
I see.
You're from the shoe cobbler, right? Is something the matter?
Oh no. I was just buying fish food.
I see.
Came to me when I saw you and I thought I should ask. There's this place I like nearby. Would you like to get something to eat with me?
Huh? I didn't know there were choices in this game. That's fine, but us having dinner together?
Yes. You're waiting for your shoe and have some time to spare, right?
I am, but I'm sure you're a busy person.
Great, I'm running some errands for my dad, so I have to go back to the cobbler later anyway.
She had a bag of something fishy. What pet food had to do with a cobbler, I did not know.
I was thinking of getting some takeout, but you know, food is always better dining in and sharing.
Right.
When you're alone, they always seat you at a big table with other strangers anyway.
I'm a stranger too, though.
So, if you don't mind, would you like to eat together?
I don't really want to be a bother to you.
No, I insist. By the time we finish eating, your shoes will be ready too.
Is this a technique for this girl to swindle me?
If you want something else, that's okay too. There's a lot of food stalls around here. I can show you the good ones.
It's fine. You don't have to.
Alright, then it's settled. Let's go to the restaurant.
Eh? Just like that? He linked my arm with hers and led me to a diner across the road. I tried to decline her politely, but I could not utter a strong enough reason to avoid her. It was forward and uncouth of her to push me around like that, but I hazarded to say anything to her about it. I wanted to get home as quickly as possible without any fuss or hassle. If I have to go along with this, then so be it. My poor shoes were being held hostage by this weird woman. I was led into a small Hong Kong-style diner. It was an unremarkable restaurant. A diner like this could be found in any district around Hong Kong. Sam pulled out the remarkably colorful plastic chair for me. I hesitantly took my seat. I observed her set her mysterious bag down on the table as if it was a normal and everyday thing to do. She handed me a menu that she grabbed from the next table over. I quickly glanced at it. Menu items were typical. I wasn't thinking of eating much. I was more concerned about the bag she brought from the pet store. An outer opaque paper bag shielded her aquatic purchase from glances of other restaurant patrons. I was bewildered. She treated it like a purchase from the vegetable market, setting it on the table like that. I kept my handbag close to my side. Before I could continue with my thoughts, a waitress came over to take our order.
Have you decided? Order as you please.
Give me a moment.
Alright, I'll order first. I'll get the beef brisket with rice noodles. I'll add milk tea with that. Oh, and I'll get the chef salad for takeout. That's it for me.
I'll order the clubhouse sandwich.
Anything to drink?
The tea is fine. Thank you.
Eating a sandwich for dinner? This place is known for their beef brisket.
I don't like to eat too much after 9 p.m. If you have too many carbohydrates in the late night, you'll gain weight easily, you know.
Really? Is that true? I eat late every day.
Well, maybe not for you. The waitress came back and placed on the table her order of milk tea. The cobbler's daughter proceeded to pour a whole sachet of sugar into the already sugary drink without tasting it first. She stirred in the sugar and took a sip. She reached for another sugar packet and was about to tear it open before she stopped herself. I must have made a face unconsciously.
I think it's fine as long as you eat in moderation. You should eat more, in fact. You want some of my brisket?
Huh? No, thank you. I'm not that hungry.
Do you work in an office? Those heels you dropped off were really impressive.
Yes. I work in a publishing company as a secretary.
An OL? Well, anyone would have figured. Your suit really gives it away.
You like my shoulder pads? It's not like being an OL is something to hide.
Absolutely. It's too bad your shoe broke. Your sandals right now really don't match your getup.
Are you making fun of me?
No, I just think it's really interesting. An OL wearing bright pink kitchen slippers to work. How refreshingly empowering.
Empowering? What do you mean by that?
Like someone who could command the attention of the whole room.
It was an accident that I broke my heels on my way to work. These slippers were just a replacement. Please don't try to categorize me as something based on one thing.
Well, you still went around town in them. That's gutsy. I would have picked out something less conspicuous to wear instead.
It's not like I had time to find something else to wear.
Alright, let's leave it at that. Say, do you have an aquarium?
Huh?
You were looking at the goldfish earlier.
Oh. No, I just like looking at the animals.
I see. That's cute.
Cute?
Can I ask you then, are you a cat person or a dog person?
A cat.
That was quick.
I like dogs too, but a cat. Cat.
I see.
Why did you ask?
It's nothing really. I just wanted to make light conversation.
I see. Do you keep any pets? I saw you bought fish food.
I don't. The fish food is for my dad. He likes to snack on it sometimes. Well, not him, but for his fish.
Oh,
How about yourself?
in the corner of my eye, I saw the bag that she had put on the table was about to fall over. I heard a rustling noise. I wasn't sure what was in her bag, but whatever it was alive and trying to escape. She caught it before it fell off the dining table. She placed the bag again on the table, this time tucking it between the container of chili oil and the salt and pepper shakers. No?
See.
Well, I kept a turtle before. It was more my father's pet turtle. I didn't really care for it.
It's okay. You know, my dad really loves his pet fish. Ah! I bought extra food for the fish. You can take some for the turtle.
He motioned to take out the bag for all to see in the restaurant. But wait. Please save it for yourself. I don't have the turtle anymore.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The poor turtle.
Well, I'm not sure what happened to it.
It ran away? A turtle?
No. We let him go in the pond when my family moved.
Public pond?
Well, a lot of things happened at that time.
Oh, we haven't even introduced each other yet. My family name is Wong. My given name is Kayan. You can call me Sam, though. I have a small video store just around the corner near here.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
The shop is called Diamond Videos. It's a humble little store, but I have all sorts of movies if you're interested in a recommendation. What's your name?
Cheung, Fong Ha. My English name is Michelle.
Michelle Fong Ha Cheung. What a powerful name.
Please don't say my name so loud like that. sounds so much like a Peking opera stage name. I wish my mother gave me a more cheerful name like yours.
I think it's a beautiful and graceful name that your mother has given you. When I was in school, there were 5 other Kayans in my class. It was terribly confusing.
Really? That must be troublesome.
Right? So, what made you choose Michelle as your English name? A lot of people I've met picked a name phonetically similar to the Chinese name.
Eh? It was my father who suggested that name to me. He said it was from an English song. I thought it sounded nice.
Oh, Isn't that from a famous song? I might have the record somewhere.
The Paul McCartney song? Probably. Really? I don't really listen to much Western music.
That's alright. What music do you listen to then?
I like artists like Tai Chin and Teresa Teng.
I see. So, you like Mandarin folk? That's interesting. I can see why you like it.
I like singers who express a lot of emotions in their songs, not just in Mandarin. I also like Anita Moy.
Is that so? I love Anita Moy. Her fashion and singing is top-notch, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I've been following her since she won the new talent competition. I admire how hard she works.
Right? She's an inspirational artist. Do you have a cassette player?
I do.
Would you like to listen to this mix I got? I got Anita Moy and other artists that I like on this.
Sam showed me a cassette tape she had in her pocket. She had one of those portable cassette players clipped under her pants, a Sew Me Walk Me. On the cassette label was a handwritten playlist. I didn't recognize the names of the musicians other than Anita Moy and Deanie Yip. I saw she had the names of English artists written down, but I didn't know who they were. It's alright.
Oh? A bunch of these. I used to work in a record store some time ago, so I made them when the day was slow.
It's fine. You don't need to.
Aww.
I'll look into it later. Where did your name come from, Sam? It doesn't sound like your Chinese name at all.
Friend picked it out for me. When I was younger, I usually worked late tending to the record store. It was a shop my friend had helped manage. At the end of the day, she'd come over to collect the money from the register. And she'd ask me to eat a late dinner with her. She was my senior, so she would just say, "Let's eat dinner." She said every time she saw me in the evening that she stopped addressing me by my Chinese name. She just greeted me with that phrase. So one day, she got the bright idea of calling me Samantha. We worked at a semi-popular record store then. Sometimes English speakers would come in looking for certain records. My friend said it was better to have an English name. It makes it easier for business. So that's how the name Samantha stuck. I didn't like it at first. In fact, I felt that my friend was ridiculing me with that name. I adapted it to Sam. And before I knew it, everyone started calling me by that. I grew to like it.
I see. That's an interesting story. Samantha. Hard to say.
That's why I don't mind people shortening it to Sam. Easier to say and easier to spell. Feels more personal, too.
I see.
Hmm? You're not eating your salad?
I don't really like fruit salad when it's too creamy.
Don't waste it then. You should have gotten your sandwich with fries instead.
I didn't know it would be this kind.
It's always this kind of salad at these restaurants. Anyways, I'll eat it if you don't want it.
Eh?
They'll just trash it if you don't finish it. There's a lot of people starving in the world.
Alright. If you really insist.
Thank you! I'll help myself.
You're really eating it.
What's that? You laugh at me?
I just think you're pretty interesting. We just met and now you're finishing my meal.
Well, I think if you live your life with too many reservations, you'll miss out on all the fun. You'll end up getting constipated too.
Just from not having this salad?
Well, maybe if you don't eat salad.
It's not like I don't eat any salad. Okay, give it back. I'll have some too. Now you're laughing at me.
You're too funny.
That's what I should be saying to you. We continued talking about this and that after finishing the meal. Sam had an interesting perspective on things, I have to admit. I suppose it wasn't bad to pass time with company like this.
Shall we head back? Your shoes should be fixed by now.
Oh, already? Okay. Let's get the bill.
I already got it.
When?
When you were in the washroom earlier.
That's not fair. Here, take this.
No, I asked you to dinner and ate most of your food. I had to get takeout for my dad anyway.
Still.
Say about having no reservations.
Alright then. Next time is on me, okay?
Okay, let's have sukiyaki next time.
Sukiyaki? It's not fair.
How about conveyor belt sushi then?
Huh? If you can limit yourself to just one plate.
I'm just joking.
We walked back to the shoe cobbler together. I couldn't bring myself to ask her age. I guess she was a few years older than me. She gave me the air of an older sister. I laughed lightly to myself. An older sister wearing a t-shirt and sneakers? A younger sister wearing a full blazer suit? The thought of it was amusing.
Michelle? What's so funny?
It's nothing.
The shop's the other way.
Huh? I remembered wrong.
You don't come here often?
No, not really.
Follow me this way. It's just a quick walk back.
Okay.
Here we are. Hey Dad, we're back.
Eh? You girls came back together?
Are the shoes finished?
Of course, I finished them a long time ago.
As expected from the Grandmaster.
Don't call me that.
Oh, here's your fish food and your dinner. Don't get the bags mixed up.
I won't, thank you. Huh, it's only one box. Did you eat already?
I already ate with Michelle.
Huh? With her?
Thank you, sir. Here's the payment. I'll come by again next time if I need another repair done.
No need to be so polite. Come by any time.
I gave Mr. Wong the payment for his service in exchange for my repaired shoes. Finally, my ordeal is over. I should head out.
All right.
I'll be going home. It's gotten quite late now.
My bad for keeping you long. I appreciate you for keeping me company.
No, I should thank you. Thanks for taking care of me today.
My pleasure. Are you taking the subway? I can walk you to the station entrance.
No, it's fine. I decided to take a taxi instead.
Okay. I already see one coming down this way. I'll help you flag it down.
Sam raised her hand and a passing taxi immediately pulled over to the side for her. She opened the passenger seat door for me. Thanks.
Zhao, it was nice meeting you. I enjoyed talking with you.
Me too. Sam seemed to wait for my response. I looked away. I felt an anticipatory gaze from Sam. Something about the way she looked at me made my heart pound. I didn't know why it made me feel this way. I never had such a feeling before with anyone. Taxi's loud radio filled the void of silence between us. I should say something to her at least. I'll visit your store. I'll visit your store. And we can talk more next time.
Zhao? Yes, I look forward to it.
Sam. I wanted to say something more, but before I could speak, the taxi driver laid his horn.
Let's not keep the taxi driver waiting. I hope to see you again sometime. Bye-bye.
I got in the car. Sam closed the door, and the taxi sped off away into the night. In a few turns, the car had left Mongkok. I forgot to say goodbye to her. It had taken me longer than expected, but I accomplished what I had sought out to do today. I opened the bag that I had received from Mr. Wong. I examined the shoes. The heel was repaired perfectly. There were no signs of damage to be found. It looked as good as new, exactly what Mr. Wong had promised. It had been quite a day of mishap, but in the end, I couldn't help giggling to myself in the taxi. Funny how things work out sometimes. Sam and Mr. Wong were a peculiar daughter and father pair. They talked so nonchalantly, I would have thought that they were siblings instead. I guess some families were like that. They're certainly interesting people. Especially that girl, Sam. Sometimes inconveniences can lead to memorable moments beyond what could ever be expected. I haven't let myself go with the flow of things for so long that I'd almost forgotten this feeling. It was nice sometimes. I met someone new tonight. A shoe cobbler's daughter. A video store owner in Mongkok. I wondered if our paths would cross like it did again. Taxi made a turn off the bypass. I'd be home in a few moments. I could put my feet up and indulge myself in a good novel. My feet were just throbbing after a long day of running back and forth from here and there. I took a peek at my shoes again. I was excited to wear these shoes tomorrow. They were polished and shiny, It looked even better than before. My building complex came into view. I hope my mother didn't mind me coming home a bit later than usual. I had returned home quite late. I stepped into my house. Kitchen lights were off. My mother must have eaten dinner by now. She probably cleaned up and gone to bed already. Mother? Oh, I saw cooked dishes left out on the dining table. She didn't have to leave food out for me every time. I heard the sound of my mother's bedroom door open.
Gabby.
Uh-huh.
Mother? I'm home. My mother appeared out of her bedroom with a frown on her face.
Why are you home so late? You should have called me. I was worried.
I'm sorry. I had broken the heel of my shoe and I went to get it fixed after work. I didn't think it would take as long as it did to get it repaired.
Hmm. Did you eat yet?
Yes, I had something while waiting.
And remember to call me next time. All this food I made for you is cold.
I'm sorry.
Don't be out so late again. If you need to run an errand, have it done during the day. The streets are dangerous for a young woman like you.
Yes, Mother. I understand.
I'm so tired now after waiting up with worry. Pack up the food for me. I'm going to sleep now.
Okay, I'm sorry to have made you worry. My mother walked back into her bedroom as quietly as she came. I packed up the food she had left for me as silently as I could. I'd forgotten about my mother. It was my habit to call her if something came up at work for me to come home late. If I forget to let her know, she would wait up all night worrying over me. It was my fault to have provoked such a feeling. Seeing her leave out a meal for me on the kitchen table made my heart swell with guilt. Whatever energy that I had earlier had all but left me now. It was all wrung out. I should finish cleaning the dishes and wash up. I have another day at work tomorrow. That girl Sam. Must be nice to be so carefree like that. I'm not sure what Mr. Wong had done. Whether it was his sheer craftsmanship or if it was by some occult power. All I knew was that he had done transformative work on my shoes. My heels were even more comfortable to wear compared to before. I wondered if he had adjusted the heel length on them. I felt taller and more confident with every step I took. My calf looked more slender and shapely wearing them. Perhaps next time, I'll try wearing them without pantyhose. What a time-honored skill Mr. Wong must possess. I'm sure many people will rely on his service for years and years to come. I wish I could write a review for him. He certainly deserves the praise. The day was just flying by. My commute to work was smooth. I was even able to get a seat on the subway on the way to work. I suppose for every bad day, a good day will come to make up for it. There was a lull in the day. I went for a sit and lunch. My usual restaurant had hardly a queue to get inside.
Miss, your user order?
Today I'll have the curry beef brisket, please.
Okay.
It was a wonderfully seamless day. I was thinking I could leave work early.
Hey,
Yes?
you're leaving already?
Yes, that's right.
You forgot about me already.
You're the new hire in the accounting department. Johnny?
Miss Joey.
Right, Joey. I apologize.
That's okay, we never formally introduced ourselves to each other. I've been here for a few weeks. Your name is Michelle, right? Or should I call you Slippers Cheung?
Please don't call me that. I was hoping people would forget about that already.
Eh, but it's so funny. Hey, has anyone said that you look a bit like Momoko Kokichi?
Peach child?
The Japanese pop idol.
Huh?
Yeah, don't you think so?
No way. There's no way I would look like a pop singer.
Don't be so modest. I'll show you a photo book. You really look like her.
You don't have to go so far as to do that. What is it?
I see you wearing those slippers today. You got your shoes fixed?
Oh, please don't tease me about it anymore. Even the supervisor was heckling me about it this morning.
It's a great story though. Don't you think it adds more to your character?
Character?
When I first saw you, I thought you were like a boss character.
Boss character? Mrs. Tam is our boss.
Not that kind of boss. I meant to say that you seemed hard to approach at first. So for you to come into work in slippers like that, it's like, oh, a weakness. I mean as a compliment.
I don't quite understand, but I appreciate your compliment.
Yeah. You heading home right now?
Yes. I was just about to go.
Oh, me too. You take the student Wong line, right? I'll go with you.
Okay, then.
There's this noodle house that just opened. I heard from some of my friends that it's pretty good. You want to try with me? It's really...
The next station, or this is the
Oh.
announcer, I guess.
The next station is Mock Hawk. Doors are open to your right.
The train had been slowing down to stop at the next station. And as I was about to answer, I was pushed by the other commuters looking to get off at the stop.
You okay, Michelle? You gotta be like water and invade all the people on the train.
Yes, I got distracted.
So, what about that noodle place?
I'm sorry. I have to get off here.
I thought you had a few more stops.
I forgot I had something I needed to pick up. Next time, okay?
Oh, okay. It's not a big deal. It's always the next time. I'll see you tomorrow.
Alright. See you tomorrow. I'm not sure why I made up such an excuse to get away from him. From what I've heard, Joey's a good, respectable guy. I heard from other coworkers that he had studied abroad and only recently returned to Hong Kong upon completing his graduate studies. I'm sure there's a lot I could talk to him about, yet here I am. I was back in the same district where I had my shoes fixed the other day. I should take my time to look around. It'd be awkward if I get back on the train and I run into Joey by accident at the next stop. Since I was already here, I could take a look at the shops for a bit. I didn't have a chance to really browse the shops because of that girl Sam the other day. Now that I think of it, didn't she mention she had a shop around here? Shouldn't be too far of a walk from here. A video store. A video store. I had no expectations to actually come across the video store of that girl I met yesterday. Besides the street-level storefronts, there were a multitude of stores located within indoor shopping arcades, as well as the many outdoor market stores that were scattered across this whole neighborhood district. Sam had only vaguely mentioned the location of her store. Find such a specific store without a specific address. I might as well have searched for a needle in a haystack. Did she even want me to find her store? She should have given me a business card if she did. Diamond Videos? What kind of store name was that? Diamond would be more suitable for something a little more valuable than video cassettes. I giggled to myself. At this rate, perhaps it might just be a diamond in the rough if I could find it. I didn't put too much hope in it, though. I walked through a whole shopping arcade, and I've yet to come across her store. Nonetheless, I kept walking. I was testing out my shoes. My feet carried me forward without effort. My shoes felt comfortable and light. It was satisfying to hear the sound of the heel hitting the pavement. I passed by a few electronics stores. I saw from the window that they had an assortment of televisions and stereo devices for sale. I did not see any stores having home videos. Perhaps my father would have known better than me where to find a store like this. If he was alive, I'm sure he would still be coming to this neighborhood to regularly look at the stereo devices on display. He had always liked to tinker with his sound system. In the past, I would have asked him to bring me along with him on his free weekends, and I would take a look at the new records in the shops nearby. My mother would also come along to look for her Chinese opera records. That was many years ago. Things change fast around here. I could hardly recognize any of the stores now. I had walked a few blocks and reached the end of the street. I looked left and right. Seemed like there weren't a lot of stores ahead. I looked up. There was a strobing neon sign above me. It might just be video. Adult video. I craned my head to do a double take. I saw there was a massage parlor in the unit above. A CD movie theater was in the building beside it. My left eye twitched. I've been looking at a computer monitor all day. What I should do is kick back at home with a cool compress over my eyes. I forgot to do that the other night. The heat of the buildings and all the people in the streets made the night air here humid and dense. I felt a bit uncomfortable, like there was something heavy wrapping itself around me. If I continued down the street corner, I'd enter the grittier part of Portland Street. Should I try another street? I peered ahead and saw a street sign asking office ladies to be wary of pickpockets. Huh. Perhaps not. I glanced at my wristwatch. It was getting late. About time I called it quits and headed home. I clicked my heels together 3 times and chuckled to myself. There's no place like home. As I was turning around, I felt the shadow of someone walk past me. The person walked quickly behind me. It wasn't anything, but it felt suspicious. I tried to catch a glimpse of that person before they got away. In the corner of my eye, I saw that it was a woman in a long robe dress. It was much like a Cantonese opera stage costume. She had long, wavy hair I vaguely recalled seeing. Sam? It was the first thought that came into my mind. I wasn't exactly sure who it was, but the profile was close enough to Sam's to make me question my eyesight. Whoever it was, they gave off a strange energy, enough to throw me off kilter. Even though I was just complaining about the warm, humid weather in my mind earlier, the air around me soon felt cold. I composed myself. I was heading home anyway. It was just not my luck to find the video store today. I continued my walk back in the direction from which I came. But as I continued walking, I noticed shops that I did not recall seeing earlier. There was a store that carved wood caskets, and a few others selling paper effigies, altars, incense, and lanterns. It struck me as strange, as I thought I'd been walking in the opposite direction of Temple Street, where such stores were common in that area. Had I really walked down the wrong street? I looked left, right, forward, and back. I realized I had wandered somewhere quite far from where I started out. I didn't recognize the road signs nor any of the landmarks. The quietness of the street was quite unsettling. I coughed from the thick plumes of incense smoke in the air. It was eerie how one wrong turn can make a world of difference. I walked for a long time without seeing another pedestrian. I tried not to think about it. I hastened my pace. I wanted to get back to the station or hail a taxi. But there was no passing taxi. And despite how far I kept walking, I couldn't seem to find my way back to the station. I was getting more and more lost in the labyrinth of small and narrow streets. I crossed the next street, and I felt something wet drip on my head. It was a water droplet. I wasn't underneath a rain cloud, nor was I underneath hanging laundry or an air conditioner. I felt uncomfortable. The hair on my neck rose. I could feel the intense stare of someone behind me. I quickly turned around. I saw an old woman looking at me. She was seated on a small stool in the street corner. Her eyes were sunken deep with age. She wore a black traditional dress robe, and she combed her hair in a tight bun. Her dress hid most of her body, but I could see that she was quite a small person. Her back was bent forwards with scoliosis, making her appear even smaller. Lotus flowers were placed on a mat beside her. She appeared to be selling them. She didn't appear to be someone dangerous. Rather, she seemed to me like a gentle and lonely old woman who lived a lifetime of honest but hard labor. A coin for a flower seemed like a small pittance, but it could mean a meal for her. I reached for my coin purse.
Young lady, haven't you realized that there's another path? Sometimes the road won't appear until you take the first step towards it.
Huh? I looked up, and somehow the old lady merchant had disappeared right before my eyes. The street corner where I thought she sat had no one. Behind it was just an empty alleyway. I stood, dumbfounded. There was not a trace of her. No stool, no mat, not even a lotus petal was left behind. I was starting to feel quite frightened. Where did she go? Had I been seeing and hearing things this whole time? I asked myself. I suppose this is what I got for walking alone in an unfamiliar place. I approached the alley. I had to get a closer look. Perhaps it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. My heart started racing as I cautiously approached the alley. And I peered in, thinking, praying that it wasn't all a malicious ploy by someone out to get me. But rest assured, there was not a soul. I suppose the old lady packed up her things and left. I looked through the alleyway again. I saw in the distance a familiar blinking sign. I realized I could cut through the alley to where I was earlier. took my chances. I didn't think too much. A dark alley has its dangers, but at this moment, I was more afraid of being stuck in some unfamiliar place. I hated the feeling of being lost. I hightailed it through the alley. And as soon as I stepped out of it, I felt the air pressure immediately change. The street was bustling with human activity. It was warm and humid. I didn't mind it as much this time. It was comforting to hear the sounds and chatter of people going about their business. I was back to where I started, before everything strange started happening. Ironically enough, it was the blinking adult video sign that signaled me back to the place. I was about to head out, this time in the correct direction, when I heard the muffled sounds of someone calling my name.
Michelle!
Where was it coming from?
Michelle!
I heard my name being called out again. I looked across the street and I saw her standing outside a store. It was Sam. She had the door open and gestured for me to come inside. It was a tiny and dimly lit shop sandwiched between what looked like questionable establishments. I hadn't noticed her store even though I had walked past it earlier. My eyes weren't fooling me this time, right? I crossed the street. It was indeed Sam. Her smile, her gestures, it was without a doubt Sam. I was a little unnerved by what had happened earlier, but I felt much more at ease to see a friendly face. Sam's excitement to see me was earnest. I would put behind me this strange sequence of events. It'll be a later date when I have to recall the words of the old lady. Sam welcomed me into her store. It was a video store, exactly as she had described. Her store wasn't too big. Her counter was small. She had for a seat a folding chair and a stool that also appeared to double as a dining table in times of need. The store was stacked floor to ceiling with shelves and boxes of videotapes and laser discs. A small TV was plugged in near where she sat. It had a video of a black and white film playing.
Heya, Michelle. I saw you walking outside earlier. You alright? You look a little dazed.
I'm fine.
I didn't expect to see you again so soon. Was there something you were looking for today? Or were you looking for me?
I was just in the area. I was just passing by.
What a coincidence, then. Since you're here, why don't you take a look around my store? If you find something you like, I'll give you a special discount.
Okay. I looked around. She had the typical assortment of contemporary American and Asian films, television dramas, karaoke discs, and direct-to-home videos. Sam also had a section of classic Hollywood films such as Sound of Music and Casablanca. I remember I watched some of those films with my mother when I was younger. I wondered if my mother would want to watch those films with me again. The thought had never occurred to me that I could revisit these films with home video. I felt Sam's eyes on me. She acted as if she was flipping through her ledger. She was definitely looking at me. She had a slight grin on the corner of her lips. I didn't like being stared at. I picked up a tape off the shelf and read the back cover. I didn't have any particular movie I wanted to watch, but I didn't want Sam to think that I came over to her store just to loiter. I wasn't much of a moviegoer. The last time I watched a movie in theaters must have been 2 years ago. I preferred to instead read a book from the comfort of my home. I like being able to follow along something at my own pace. It's not that I disliked movies. I want to be able to feel something, anything, out of my own thoughts and volition. I don't like being forced to feel a certain way because of some graphic image on screen. I wondered what about film made Sam get into this kind of business. I put the tape back down. Sam was still looking my way. She seemed like she was waiting for me to ask her something. I pretended not to notice. I continued browsing. I saw that Sam kept a special selection of films in the corner of her store. Guessing by the languages on the covers, some looked like they were directly imported from their source country. A few English language films had a sticker on them indicating that you needed special hardware to play the tape. I examined this section closely. Her eyes continued to follow mine. I didn't recognize any of the movies in this section. Even for the Chinese language films in this section, they were all by directors I never heard of before. Films looked quite old and predated even the films I watched with my mother. I struggled to pronounce the titles of some of them. Malshin in uniform? What language was this one? Sam got up from her stool.
Do you have any questions about these films?
What are these tapes? They look like bootlegs.
They're not bootlegs. They're copies of rare and experimental films.
Can you really set up a shop like this with these kinds of tapes? Seems hard to sell.
There's nothing wrong with them. One day, someone's gonna wish there were more copies of these films floating around.
Do you really make money selling these films?
I do. Special interest. The lease ain't free. You gotta find a way to reach out to every kind of client. Well, I have my loyal customers. Certain movies really do help pad out the sales.
Sad.
It's nothing. Would you like to look at anything else?
Do you have any Chinese classics? I'll get something for my mother.
Of course. How can I stay in business if I don't? Any particular one you think she'll like?
I'm not sure. My mother really liked the movie The Dream of the Red Chamber.
Which version did you like?
I think the one with Bridget Lynn.
Is she a fan of Bridget Lynn? I have a lot of her other movies.
No, really. I don't think she particularly likes her movies.
She's the biggest superstar of Taiwan and Hong Kong.
My mother isn't up to date with celebrity trends. She was and will always be a fan of Yam Kim Fai. She loves Cantonese opera. Perhaps she might like a recording of one of her films.
Oh. Yam is quite a popular figure, isn't she? My mother was a fan too. Has she watched The Purple Hairpin?
Definitely. I'm sure she'll watch it again, though. I'll get a copy.
Okay. This version of it is good. The sound is in stereo quality.
Thanks.
How about for yourself? Is there anything that you're looking for? Just name it and I can find it for you.
I'm not sure. I don't have a particular one I'm looking for right now.
What kind of movies do you like?
I prefer reading a book. I don't really watch a lot of movies. I prefer reading a book instead.
Is that so? Can you tell me why?
Well, sometimes I feel more moved if I could just imagine something for myself instead of watching it on a screen.
My, Michelle, you're quite the dreamy girl.
I wouldn't say that. I just like to be quiet with my own thoughts.
Shell,
What kind of movies do you like, Sam? What made you want to run a video store?
As long as I can remember, I've been watching movies. I like every kind of film. Comedy, action, romance, drama. I can watch anything. What I like about film is watching the actors and actresses bring the story to life. Along with the film set, the cinematography, the sound direction. Sometimes it all comes together to create a picture so vivid and beautiful that it leaves a lasting impression on me. The films that I like are the ones I'll never forget. You just want to go back and watch them so you can think about them again. That's what makes home videos so wonderful to me.
I see. My heart ached at hearing Sam's words.
Ah! Have you seen this movie?
Sam pointed to a tiny television screen. It was a black and white Chinese silent film. It was made quite before my time. I didn't recognize any of the actors. No? What is it? Sam showed me the tape.
This film is one of Ron Lingyu's strongest performances. New Woman.
Ron Ling Yu? I don't think I've heard of her.
She also went by the English name Lilly Yuen. She was a silent film star in Shanghai during the 1930s. Ron was of Cantonese origin, her Cantonese accent notwithstanding. Her success as an actress was before the advent of sound in Chinese cinema. You could see her in the films that she was talented in portraying a variety of characters with a high level of emotional depth. I won't tell you too much about her until after you finish the film. But I have to say, this film carries a lot more weight once you know what happens.
I see. That's interesting. How did you come across her films? I'm sure even my mother wouldn't know about them.
I heard a little bit about her films before from people old enough to be alive during her time. It was only recently that her films were taken out of the archives, so I had my chance to finally watch them myself. You can watch it here. It's not that long. Here, have a seat. I'll rewind it to the beginning.
It's alright. I'll get a coffee.
Okay. I'll give you 20% off.
20% only? Can I buy one, get one?
I'd love to, but I have to be fair to every customer. I'll discount you more if you're a returning customer. I also do rentals.
Huh? Is that really fair then?
Hehe.
Alright, here.
Thank you.
What's the movie about?
Well, it's about an educated woman played by Ruan, and what she has to do to survive in the society of the time. It's quite a brave film considering its time of release. The last scene always gives me chills. It's hard to describe the film. You just have to watch it and see. Tell me what you think after you finished it.
Okay.
I hope you like it.
I've been taking up a lot of your time. I shouldn't be keeping you from your work any longer. I should get going.
Are you busy tonight?
I don't have any particular plans.
Would you like to come with me to a show?
A show?
It's at a pub near the station here. I know the owner quite well, and she puts on a special event every month.
A pub? What about your shop?
It's okay. I'll just lock it up. It's about time I close up anyway.
Really? Sign outside your door says you still have half an hour till closing.
Closing time is subject to management.
What kind of management is that?
Don't worry about it. Come on, let's go.
Sam ushered me out of her shop and quickly shuttered the gates. I could try watching the movie she recommended, but I didn't really like the idea of going along with her to a pub. I was about to protest had not the venue been in the direction of the subway station. I figured I'll go along with her for a bit and then excuse myself later. We had a nice conversation. Sam seemed cheerful. I didn't want to dampen her mood. Sam walked next to me, humming an upbeat song. She had on a ritzy outfit today. I didn't notice it at first when she was sitting behind her shop counter. It was quite outstanding. Sam wore a hibiscus red blouse, a fitted skirt, and paired these items with pointed toe heels. What a strange shopkeeper. I've never seen anyone tend to a store dressed like that. I was dressed in my usual office attire, formal, neat, and clean. I don't have the look of someone going to bars after work. As we walked, the streets got more and more crowded the closer we approached the station. The sidewalk was shoulder to shoulder with pedestrians going home, going out, going somewhere. I took off my jacket. It was warm. I felt awkward around Sam. From afar, I'm sure no one would think we had anything to do with each other. The subway entrance should be just around the corner ahead. It's about time I took my leave. I shouldn't involve myself with Sam anymore tonight. Not like this, I thought. Sam?
We're here. The venue is just down those stairs.
Sam gestured to a narrow stairwell leading down into the basement of a pre-war apartment building. The entrance was open. It was an otherwise inconspicuous place. I looked for the name of the establishment. All the place had for signage was a bolted plate beside the entrance door, which indicated in small font that it was, in fact, a bar and disco. I felt uneasy. I better not today.
Shell?
I have to get going.
Oh.
I have some things I gotta take care of.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm sorry.
No worries, there's always the next time.
Sam smiled lightly. Did she feel disappointed? Sam,
I'll walk you to the station.
that's all right. I hope you have a good night. I'm going to head out now. A woman in an ostentatious green power suit suddenly appeared between us. She put her arm around Sam's waist. She seemed well acquainted with Sam.
Got me.
Samantha? What are you doing just standing out here? Hurry up and get in!
What are you doing out here, Cecilia?
Huh? You don't see me working? I have to be my own planner, promoter, security. I might as well be my own performer too if I had to do everything around here.
You're busy as always, aren't you?
Always. I saw you loitering outside. How rude, blocking my entrance like that. Just get inside already and make my place look lively.
Hurry.
Huh? Who's this? You brought someone this time? Don't tell me this is...
Cecilia, this is Michelle. Michelle, Cecilia.
Eh? Well, aren't you something?
I'm sorry, I'm actually leaving.
Hey. Miss Wong, didn't you tell her it's the ladies' night? There is no cover charge.
That's not it. I have to catch the train.
Hawa, where did you find this girl? She's so cold. You come in and sit for a bit, okay? Relax. You're not just stressed from work. Drink something to warm yourself a little up. Yeah.
Cecilia proceeded to put her arms around my shoulder and walk me down into the bar. Sam shrugged and followed in. Cecilia then excused herself and began chatting up other patrons in the bar. She seemed like a busybody. The bar was named Ruby. I figured from the pink neon sign that was lit on the wall. It was a weathered-looking bar that appeared as if it had gone through several aesthetic transformations throughout the years. Furniture was mismatched and the paint job was uneven and chipped in some corners. If I had to describe what its decor was like to a magazine publicist, I would say that it was a valiant attempt at combining cosmopolitan posh and tropical boathouse. Neon lights colored the thick plumes of cigarette smoke in the air. Loungy funk music played from a sound system that is reminiscent of the one my elementary school had in the gymnasium. The bass was terribly loud and made an awful buzzing and crackling sound. Regardless of what I thought of the bar's visual and sound aesthetics, people seemed to have a good time. If they weren't shaking their heads to the music, they were mingling around the tables with drinks in hand. I surveyed the room. I thought Sam's bare legs were too risque, but compared to everyone else here, she was considered modestly dressed. People wore flashy outfits that were outrageously over the top. There were women who dressed like men, and others who dressed like circus performers. It was like a British fashion show. I wasn't the only person dressed in office attire, but I certainly felt out of place here. Sam suggested we sit down at the bar. I sat down on the seat at the end of the counter. Sam took the seat next to me, first exchanging greetings with the bartender before sitting down on the high stool. Every time Sam crossed her legs, I noticed her skirt would inch dangerously higher. This was not good. Did Sam not notice this? My mother would have chastised me over such unladylike dress and behavior. I suppose Sam wasn't someone I could consider exactly feminine. A lady wouldn't go to a pub on her own. And a lady certainly wouldn't be on a first-name basis with a bartender. Sam ordered a drink. It was her usual, apparently, a Tequila Sunrise. Sam asked if I wanted to have the same drink with her, but I refused. I asked for a glass of water instead. I didn't want to drink tonight. It was a weeknight, and I had my own sense of pride. I wanted to do things on my own terms, not just to please someone else. The bartender made a strange look to Sam. Sam carried on with her smiles. I couldn't read Sam's thoughts, but I tried not to think about it. Sam tapped her fingers to the beat of the music. She noted to me the names of the songs that played. I nodded along. It was something outside my knowledge. I noticed that Sam wasn't someone in need of company. Several people came over and gave their regards to Sam. Sam appeared to be popular here. One woman took a seat next to Sam. She wore a normal broad-shouldered office suit. However, the fitting was several sizes too large for her small frame. She kept her hair short, much like a boy's cut, and wore sunglasses indoors. It was a strange pub. It had a disproportionate number of women versus men. I guess that's what Cecilia meant by ladies' night. The strange woman continued talking to Sam. Their conversation wasn't something I could easily join. Their way of talking was obtuse. There were a lot of expressions and colloquial speech I could not understand. I turned away and looked at the empty stage. I wondered what kind of musical performance would it be tonight. I doubted it would suit my taste. Why did Sam invite me here? I felt a hand on my leg. It was Sam's. She placed her hand lightly on my... Sam looked at me with a concerned face. The suit-wearing woman excused herself and left to join another table.
Are you alright, Michelle?
I'm fine.
I haven't been here for a while, so some old friends came by to say hello. I didn't mean to ignore you.
That's fine. You can talk to whoever you want.
Michelle, I'm sorry about earlier. Cecilia can be forceful sometimes.
No, I get it. She reminds me of my boss.
Really? You know, Cecilia used to be my boss at one point. I could never catch a break.
Ambitious women are like that.
Oh, what's that?
What business did you have with her?
It's not anything like that. She's like a big sister to me.
Huh? Big sister?
Yes, someone who takes care and invites you out for a meal together, that's all.
I meant about your work.
Oh. Yes. Some years ago, a relative of hers owned a record store, so I helped them manage it at the time. Cecilia acted as if she owned the place, though, and treated herself as my boss. Let me tell you. She was fierce. She'd be upset with me if I couldn't name the songs off the Billboard charts. And she would give me hell if all the books were off by even 1 cent.
Oh, you mentioned that before. So that was who you were talking about.
Yes, that's right. Looking back, it was a fun stint. I learned a lot back then. When the owner decided to close down the record store, Cecilia swooped in and asked me if I wanted to lease the newly freed space from her. I didn't know anything about owning a store then. I had a really tough start. but I was able to turn things around with all the people helping me. I wouldn't be where I am without them.
I see. I'm glad it worked out for you. It's nice to have people looking out for you.
Yes.
You like running your own store?
Well, there's ups and downs, but I like the feeling of being my own boss. I can set my own hours. I can pick out what I want to sell. I can really make it my own, which I like. I'm still learning what it means to be a successful business owner. There's a lot of trial and error sometimes. But I think I'm doing pretty well for myself now.
I see. That's good for you.
What about you? What led you to be in a publishing company?
Nothing in particular, really. I was recommended the position when I was in university by a professor. I got the job and I've been there ever since. I've only been working for about a year, though.
Ah, is that so? Do you enjoy your work?
Work is work. I can't say I enjoy it, but it is what it is.
I see.
There was an awkward lull in our conversation. I didn't know what to talk about. It was a loud and busy place. I didn't want to raise my voice or bring up personal things here. Sam didn't seem too bothered. She seemed to enjoy this kind of atmosphere. She looked around and sipped on her drink slowly. When a fast-paced song came along, her fingers would automatically start tapping along with the beat. I noticed that she touched her hair a lot. Whenever she brushed her hair back, her gold-colored earrings would catch light from the stage. Sam's appearance caught eyes. Even though we sat in the corner end of the bar, anyone who walked by would turn and take a second glance at her. Sam had a different look to her today. It was an adult and mature look, a complete contrast to what I remember her wearing the other day. Yesterday's Sam had a laid-back and casual atmosphere to her. Tonight's Sam gave me a feeling of unpredictability. I never met a person like Sam before. Sam leaned closer to me. She was about to say something. I turned away to avoid eye contact. I didn't want Sam to read my expression. It wasn't that I felt intimidated by Sam. Rather, couldn't guess her motive. I felt at a loss. I didn't want Sam to know that. Sam continued the conversation.
I know you mentioned before that we had differing musical tastes. So far, how do you like the music here?
I can't say. This kind of music is new to me. I can't really say I like it.
I see. I appreciate you coming with me tonight. You know, this place plays a bit of everything. They'll play the most popular songs off the UK and American charts, and they'll also play Cantonese and Japanese hits as well. Every fourth Tuesday of the month, they have a special disco night where they bring back the older dance charts.
Disco? As Sam was about to answer, Cecilia came in and gave a hard smack to my back before taking a seat next to Sam. Cecilia was friendly towards Sam, but I felt an air of hostility from her. I should be careful around her.
How are you ladies doing tonight?
Hey Cecilia, you finally pulled away from all your guests?
For now. I still have so much to do this tonight's host.
Is that so?
Hmm? Hey, Samantha? What are you doing with your little gas in the corner? Is that a glass of water?
Oh,
What about it?
I told you to loosen up a bit.
Cecilia!
Cecilia snapped her fingers and ordered something from the bartender.
Here, a fun drink for you. A Tequila Sunrise on the house. And, if you're not a cocktail girl, a glass of my finest champagne. I had it uncorked just for you.
Cecilia, stop. That's enough.
Why not?
She doesn't want it. Don't force her.
Trying to show her a good time. Don't you see her popping in the corner with a glass of water? Come on, cheer her up.
I'm not moping.
Okay, why don't you have a drink with me? Don't be rude to your host. Which one will you pick?
Ooh.
Mm. uh. Well,
Okay, do you mind if we stop after this section because it's kind of super late here?
Sure.
Thanks.
I'm having trouble making the decision here.
Toss a coin.
I have a Tequila Sunrise.
Oh, you picked this one, huh?
I took the fruity drink from Cecilia and tried to down it. It had a sweet flavor, but the underlying alcohol taste was sharp in my mouth. I couldn't drink it all at once. I knew I was playing into her hands, but I'd rather not lose face to Cecilia. I didn't understand why Cecilia had to push me around like this. I didn't do anything to her. Cecilia coolly drank her champagne with a smile.
You know, that's Samantha's favorite drink. Good for you to try it.
Michelle, don't worry about it. You don't have to actually drink it. Here, I'll finish it for you.
Sam,
You're too soft.
Be easy on her. It's still a weeknight. Cecilia, when are the musicians starting? Why don't we all get on the dance floor?
Huh, that's right. I have to get them ready. When I come back, I better find you girls on the dance floor. Later, lovers.
Hey, don't take whatever Cecilia said to heart. That's just our big sister way of showing her care.
I didn't take it to heart.
Oh, that's good. She's a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want you to dislike her.
I see.
If you're tired, we can call it a night.
It's alright. Sam, thanks for what you did earlier.
Oh, don't worry about it. I just hope you're not feeling down because of me.
I wanted to say to Sam that it wasn't her fault. I just Before I could finish my thoughts, Cecilia was there again to interrupt me. The club music had stopped playing, and she appeared on the stage under a bright spotlight.
Ahem. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is everyone having a fabulous night?
The crowd roared in a cheer.
Is that a cheer? You can be louder than that. Don't fall asleep now. We got special guests tonight to get your body moving. If you're sitting at the tables, get your dancing shoes on and get up on the dance floor. Let's welcome Sisters. Oh, that's the band.
A group of musicians and dancers got up on the stage. People quickly crowded the platform. The bar that seemed half empty before quickly filled up. Those who were previously sitting at the tables were all on the dance floor now. The drummer counted in, and the sound of heavy synthesizers and bass followed. The room was filled with the sound of upbeat music. I looked at my watch. It was just after 11 o'clock. If I left now, I could be home before midnight. I wasn't a dancer. I didn't like to drink. Now was a good time to excuse myself. Sam could go enjoy the rest of the night the way that she wanted. I never intended to stay with her as long as I did. I got up from the bar stool. Sam,
Before you go, may I have this dance with you?
Huh? Sam held out her hand. Sam said something, but I couldn't quite hear her words. The music was deafening. We could hardly talk without yelling.
May I?
What?
Let's dance.
I don't know how to dance.
I can show you.
I should go. I don't really know this song.
Is that so? I love this song.
Huh? I said I'm going.
You'll go? Alright, let's hit the dance floor.
Huh? Are you hearing me properly? Sam's cheeks were flushed from the drinks, though there was a sense of clarity in her eyes. There was some frantic energy in her appearance. Sam held onto my wrists. Her hands were sweaty. Sam? She pulled me into the mob. What? The lights were strobing. People danced in every direction. Hands were in the air. Someone was laughing. Someone was screaming. I was being pushed by moving bodies from every direction. It was hot and tight in the disco. The plumes of smoke had gotten even thicker. I felt suffocated. It was as if for these people, tonight was all that mattered. There were no thoughts about the hangover, nor the growing economic uncertainty in the city. Here, liquor flowed endlessly. Money came easy. And Hong Kong will always be the same. Sam danced to the rhythm of the music. Sam moved left, right, and all around. Her body moved freely without regard to the movements of others around her. She stood out from everyone in the crowd. I couldn't do anything except follow her with my eyes. It was vivacious. The music continued, one song after another. She continued dancing to the music. As I stood watching her, I realized that Sam was in a world I did not know and not associate with. And a pervasive thought repeated in my mind that I didn't belong here.
Michelle, are you alright?
Sam stopped dancing. She held my wrist with her hand.
I was the one who brought you here. Must be tired. I'm sorry if this wasn't something you enjoyed. Would you like to go now?
It's not that. It's...
You know, a place like this is where I feel the most myself. It's like this messy, chaotic, confusing, but I feel free in this kind of space. It's a place where people come to have fun and to not think about their troubles for the day. People don't really judge you here. You can put aside money and status and dance the night away. You don't have to feel ashamed or hide who you are in this place. You can put on whatever outfit and feel confident with yourself. It's that kind of special place to me.
Sam had a smile on her face, though she seemed to say these things to me from a distant place. There was a long pause between us. For some reason, I couldn't put together the words to answer her right away. I wanted to say something. I didn't want her to misunderstand me. Can you tell me more? I don't know much about it. I see. Could you tell me more about it? I never went to the disco before. It's a new thing for me. But I want to learn more about it from you. Maybe not right now. You're busy too.
Michelle,
Sam.
you're a little pale. Have you eaten yet?
Oh. That's right. I haven't eaten since lunch.
Would you like to get something as a snack to eat nearby before you go home? I'll walk you out.
Okay. We left the bar. Sam walked with me to the station.